and it hurts to hear that, to see someone struggle and to doubt themselves that much, because when it's us, we feel we don't get to see all of the awesome things necessarily that make up who we are, and so I felt like it was important to try to touch on the importance of failing, and that it is just to put it in perspective, was really the kind of the goal of the post that I did.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.
His super famous quote that kind of went viral on the internet. Please, Ren, remind, because I can't do it justice. What is your quote?
It was the marketing quote. I said something like, marketing is asking someone to marry you. Branding is the reason they say yes or no. Something like that. Yeah. So these people picked it up and then they used it. He said, "Oh man, I use that all the time when I'm doing educational seminars about marketing. People seem to get it." I was like, "Well, that's awesome." They're like, "How'd you come up with that?" And I no kidding. During the conversation, I threw like 65 analogies at him on the fly. I was like, "That's kind of how it happens." I was like, because he thought I had, he legit thought I had some process for creating the. I was like, "Bro, I'm just like saying stuff, whatever, to make it seem like it makes sense," and then something comes out. I was like, and that's how that happened. I was like, I don't remember. I don't know what I said 5 minutes ago in this conversation. Jonathan, that looks super fun.
Your level of genius is just natural occurring. It's naturally occurring, and so you cannot, make a system out of what is just so spontaneous and natural.
Fine line between genius and insanity. Speaking of which, I saw Elon. I don't know if you guys watch the Saturday Night Live. I like to watch Saturday Night Live occasionally. And the Elon Musk man was on it, who does the Tesla stuff. And he's pretty funny. I missed it. Yeah. And on the show, he announced that he has Asperger's. So that became big news, right? So, but he was really funny. He was like, "I'm a bit weird, right?" He was like, "I want to put people on Mars and I invent rocket ships. Did you guys think I was going to be chill and normal?" And I was like, this guy has a level of self-effacing humor that I had not, and he was good in the skits. I highly recommend those who can tolerate Saturday Night Live. I know it's not for everybody. But for those that like it, I suggest going back to catch the rerun of the Elon Musk episode of Saturday Night Live. I can't reference any of the skits. I don't remember anything else. But there was a skit where people were asking him what Dogecoin was. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk because
of course you're not.
As somebody who owns significant amounts of Bitcoin, I'm not very happy with him right now.
Right.
He's so obviously purposefully manipulating the market in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
For his own financial gain, and just it's crazy that somebody has this much power over such an emotionally driven market.
Absolutely.
But it is so comically blatant. He got kicked off of his own board of directors by the SEC for doing this to Tesla.
Right.
And now he's just doing it with cryptocurrencies because he can. Because there's no governing body or regulatory body, and it is so unbelievably blatant. I mean, it doesn't matter for me. It's not going to affect the price long term. But 2 weeks ago, he basically agreed that Bitcoin is actually good for the environment because of the amount of renewable energy that it's using and how much renewable energy. It's pretty remarkable how much evolution in renewable energy Bitcoin is spurring. So it's actually very well established that Bitcoin mining is good for the environment long term. And by the way, rockets and battery production is not. But of course, there's a green mandate that Tesla has. And here's my opinion. He basically said, whatever, a month ago, 2 months ago, Tesla's going to accept Bitcoin for payments. Fine. Nobody's going to pay for Tesla with Bitcoin. They knew that. Everybody knew that. Basically, he put a tweet out 3 months ago saying, Bitcoin seems expensive. Price tanks. He buys $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. He then makes an announcement that says, we bought 1.5 billion in Bitcoin. A few weeks later, he then makes another announcement saying, we're accepting Bitcoin at Tesla. Bitcoin price skyrockets. He sells a bunch of Bitcoin. Now he makes an announcement 2 weeks after he agreed with Jack Dorsey of Twitter that like basically to push forward like it's pure company optics, right? The reality of it is nobody bought Teslas with Bitcoin. They shut down the program because nobody bought it, and it was really annoying because I mean the function of Bitcoin is not to buy cars with. So like it was a dumb thing to set up in the first place. So he shut it down because nobody was buying it and it's expensive and cumbersome to use anyway. But decided to spin it into their like company optics or whatever it is, knowing that the price would tank. You bet your ass he's buying some more right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like it's so blatantly obvious. Like what he did with Doge too. It's just like it's so blatantly obvious what he's doing, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Get like a fit of rage and go outside and piss on your own Tesla, John. That's what I like to see. Show them.
No, I mean I don't. I don't at all care.
No, at this point, I feel like the joke's on us for ever having expected a billionaire to act in a way that is like super ethical to begin with. It's like if you're a billionaire, you're probably pretty shady to begin with. Like I really struggle.
There's
with
something
that.
there.
So,
There's something there. Something to him. He has fabulous hair, by the way.
You have to be willing to do something and act a certain way that normal mortals aren't. That's the only way to get to that point of wealth, right? Like you've basically got to be willing not to. And nothing against it. I mean, this is the way that our capitalist society is built. But like, you've got to be willing to step on toes. You've got to be willing to manipulate. You've got to be willing to shove a bunch of people aside. And right now, what he's doing is basically manipulating a whole bunch of 18 to 25-year-olds, thinking that they're going to get rich for his own financial gain.
Describing the exact
some
process.
Of them are, a tiny percentage of them are, but most of them are just losing a bunch of money.
Exactly how I got my second COVID shot.
Right.
So manipulating it.
But this is Amber's turn to talk. So
she looks really excited to do that. By the way, like she was. Did you see how often she was interjecting? Like, guys, I'm ready to talk. You know, stop what you're talking about. I'm super excited to jump in.
With, request to speak. She needs her own sign because it happens so often. She just needs a sign of her own.
If there would ever be an object that collected the most dust in the universe, it would be a request to speak sign from Amber Reynolds. Like it'd be under such a layer of dust, she wouldn't even know that the sign was in her home. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I think I have like another 10 minutes because usually there's enough nonsense until we hit about 1:40. So you've got about 10 minutes.
She's like, please, peasants, continue.
You got a lot to talk about today. I think we should start right now.
Yeah, it's good stuff, Amber. I mean, I've read it and I know it. Yeah, I know it should be good. And again, I don't know that we can push back your enthusiasm any longer. Like you're chomping at the bit to chime in.
The first episode with Alex went live today. Did you guys listen to it?
I did not.
No.
We are not nice to him.
I feel like I was very much myself, whatever that may mean. So I'm leaving that on you guys. You two sit with that. You think about what you've done. How you man.
Keto, you just repeated what Jonathan said with different words. He said, he's like, we weren't nice, and you're like, I was very much myself. Yeah, that's what Jonathan said, Keto. Move it along. For God's sake. I was the only one that was nice to Alex that day, and you other two people were just wretched human beings to him. I felt so badly for him. But I also hope that he never comes back again. So it's balanced in a way for me. I aimed you at him. That's what I did. Like any good sniper, I let the weapons attack him, not me. So Amber, since you've been gone, and maybe because you were gone, there was an overwhelming sense of failure permeating the groups in the Online Trainer Academy, like across the board. Literally, all that we talked about when you were gone is how bad it was. Failure. People were doing in launches and they weren't having success. As Bill Murray said in Ghostbusters, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Like the planet was tilted off its axis. We now need you to come back and repair this. What you've broken with your absence. The hurt was so deep we may never recover. But you came through with the post finally after so many days of being away from us to sort of set the universe back right. It's like the end of Infinity War when Captain America takes all the stones back to their rightful place, right? That's what you've done with one post. It was so good that Jonathan was like, "Oh, we got to talk about this. Let's not waste time with the crap that we normally produce here." And it's definitely crap. Jonathan said, "Let's have something good for once. Let's be good for once." And this is that shot, Amber. No pressure. So please talk to us about your. I like how she gets increasingly depressed the more that I talk about. like this is not building up her confidence at all. Like it's doing the complete opposite here. So I do not want a Ren made me cry story. First of all, let's start there. I don't ever want to be that person.
Just to put this in perspective, so one of my first jobs when I moved to South Carolina is I was 17 and I grand opened the local Best Buy, and it's really dumb when they do a big grand opening, like the employees line up on the sign and cheer as the employees come in and whatever. And my very first customer, I cried the entire time. I saw it from a digital camera. I was like, and it has 3 times optical zoom, which was awesome at the time. And so just to put it in perspective, I'm actually really terrified of people. Considering where I live, I'm actually really terrified of people.
This is the best story ever. Oh my God. Were the cameras? Do they have video surveillance? I really like to see this in real time on camera. Oh my gosh!
Amazing.
I love how much we force you to your boundaries, to the edges of your personality. How we keep you on the fringes constantly.
Retail beats it out of you. Yeah.
It does. It does. I worked retail, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But all jokes aside, this is a fairly poignant share that you gave to us in the community, knowing that we were reeling from your absence, struggling in every way possible, failing as humans can only do, if their team mascot is the Jets or maybe a Carolina team. That's the level of failure that we've been on since you've been gone. Jonathan was an absentee father.
Toronto, it's not been good.
Yeah, right,
Toronto is not a good place to enjoy sports. Right. Basically, every sports fan in Toronto is self-loathing.
Oh my gosh, it's the same here. I live in the Toronto of the South. Or you live in the Charlotte of the North. I don't know which one. So Amber, tell us what was inspired this. Where did it? What? Amber.
You're breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry.
What inspired this post, Amber?
Yeah, so we get a lot of messages, through DMs on Facebook, Instagram, emails, live chat requests, just post in the group, and it's funny that how often people will share how much of a failure they feel like they are, that they've been grinding away after months and months of something, and they're like, I have nothing to show for it, and they feel like they failed and that there is something actually wrong with them. And it hurts to hear that, to see someone struggle and to doubt themselves that much, because, when it's us, we feel, we don't get to see all of the awesome things necessarily that make up who we are. And so, I felt like it was important to try to touch on the importance of failing, and that it is just to put it in perspective. Was really the kind of the goal of the post that I did.
I think that's a great reason. And as you go into this, I want to make sure that John and Catalina interrupt you as much as possible along the way as you explain this. Yeah, that's important for the dynamic of the show. But I love the post, Jonathan. You look like you might have something to add. I'm just reading your body language, or are you reading something else entirely? Are you watching Smurfs reruns again, Jonathan? Is that what you're doing?
This is a Lil Wayne intro.
Oh my gosh! What?
Sorry. I misspoke. A Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Yeah, there's no T in his name.
It's a Lil Wayne.
Oh my god!
I apologize to any Lil Wayne fans. Funny backstory.
Yeah,
I went on a date.
There's a lot of them
with a girl
watching the show. Oh my god!
I went on a date one time with somebody whose ex-boyfriend was Lil Wayne, and she was like this pretty little Jewish girl, which was really funny.
That feels like a song title.
It was really, really funny. They just they lived in the same condo. Like she was basically like this pretty Jewish girl who like had rich parents, and so I guess Lil Wayne had this. Yeah, he had this place in Toronto, and so they lived in the same condo complex, and she ended up dating him. And I'm like, I don't think I want to date somebody who's dating Lil Wayne. Like, I don't think I want to hold your hands.
Oh my gosh!
Ren, do you remember the song "Rich Girl"?
Yeah, you mean the original Hall and Oates, or the? Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I love me some Daryl Hall and John Oates. Let's just stab at that. They are music gods in my eyes. They've never done anything wrong. Every song is amazing from Daryl Hall and John Oates. That's all I have to say about that. But not to distract you too much, Amber. So
yeah, I'll distract you once more. So so Amber, what you're saying is, and we gone grind. I say we gone grind. I say we gone grind. I say we gone grind. I'm grinding y'all. Okay, go for it.
Oh, my inner child is like rocking in the corner, acting uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh!
I don't even know what any of that meant.
Too many revelations here on the show today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Calvin is sufficiently distracted, John, and broken
Calvin's
toy. Good job.
I just broke Calvin's toy.
Revoked your adult card. Right. So, I think especially with what we're doing, you have to go into it with the mindset that you're going to fail. I mean, there's just no question. You can't expect to go in and hit a home run even after months of work. Like for some people, it happens accidentally because they've just happened to do the right things by accident. Especially for those of us who are kind of like me and introverted and terrified of people and people's reactions, it just takes more time. Right. And so I think if we start off with the mindset of, I'm going to fail a bunch, that takes the sting out of actually failing. So I think if we can start there and understand that just because we fail, that doesn't mean we're a failure, that can help us move forward. So I think anytime that you are starting something as difficult as what we do, that is a great place to kind of start and just kind of know that when you start, you're going to fail a ton. And then as you get better, you'll fail a little less. And then my dogs are barking.
That dog was angry. Literally, who let the dogs out? So the first step in executing is understanding that failure is going to be a part of the execution. You don't get to try things in a perfect setting. Like the environment's never going to be perfect for you to try something, which means you're collecting data. Can we say that failure is not the word that we're going to go with? We're going to define failure as collecting data, right? Jonathan is collecting some data about Calvin's toy. He just realized where the pressure points are on it and how it disassembles if he doesn't treat it fairly. He didn't fail at keeping Calvin's toy intact. He collected data in what breaks it. Good job, John. You fix it? Way to go. Way to go. So, Keto, you and I have had our talks here on the on the podcast about the shenanigans that we've gotten into along the way. You know what's interesting, and I'll let you touch on this, Keto. Sorry, Amber, I'm still talking. Your topic's off the table now because of the dog. We're talking about something totally. But you know what I found today, and I'm going to share it in the group. I found a video from 2014, May 11, 2014. It came up in my memories, and it's me on video. You can't see me, but you can hear me. And I'm saying, okay, guys, as I promised, this is the drawing for my online training program. I've never done this. I don't know how to do it. But like I promised, I'm going to put these names in the hat. I was literally folding little pieces of paper, putting them in the Carolina Panthers hat. I'm going to share this video in the group. And I'm going to shake it up. We're going to see who wins. So you can see me like holding the camera in one hand because I'm trying to unfold little pieces of paper with one hand. Do you know how hard it is to unfold a little piece of paper with one hand? It's nearly impossible. But I unfolded two people, and it was somebody like named Janet and Stephanie. I don't remember either of these two women. They obviously didn't follow through because my first client's name was Crystal. She was the one that helped me prove concept. But you can't get more rudimentary than literally putting some names in the hat, shaking up the hat, saying on the video that you don't know what you're doing. By the way, welcome to the program. And I didn't even know to charge a little bit for it. And ultimately it failed because the two people that won never showed up. Imagine how that felt. I didn't fail at a launch. I failed at a free launch. Like I was giving it away and I couldn't even do that. And this was before I ever got this was me trying to get my very first client ever in the online space, May of 2014, before I ever met Jonathan. That's my segue story for the day. I'm sticking to it. Go ahead, Amber, take it away. Put that dog away.
Somebody came to fix my washer. It's been flooding. Sorry.
Oh.
That's anyway, awesome. I know. So what I was saying is that, when we're first starting, we're going to fail a ton. And then if you stick it out long enough, you'll get a better ratio of failure to success. And then if right. you have really, stuck to it and built in a lot of resiliency to failing, your ratio of success to failure will be way more leaning towards success versus failures. But you have to be willing to fail a bunch in order to get to that ratio. But it doesn't mean that when you do fail, it doesn't suck. And it's okay to sit in that and to experience those feelings of sadness, anger, whatever it is that you're feeling, it's all valid. But what you're responsible for is what you do after. And if you just sit and throw your hands up like, oh, I'm not good enough, so I'm just going to quit. Well, yeah, then you're going to, not only fail, but never succeed because you've given up even when it's hard.
You're going to live there.
So what you can do is if you are willing to fight through those failures is to ask for feedback, which everybody seems terrified to do. I mean, myself included. And this is something I've had to work through. But we have to ask for feedback in order to be able to grow. And we have to go into it without trying to argue about the feedback or to justify our actions or thought processes. We have to listen, receive, and ask for clarity. A lot of times when we ask for feedback, we're like, but this was happening, or but that was happening. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Take the feedback, and it doesn't mean it's good feedback, but listen to it, receive it, ask for clarity. And then once you've done that process, you can try to determine what is actually good feedback versus bad feedback. You're not always going to get that right. You'll try feedback that seemed good at the time, and it was wrong, and that's okay, but that's part of the process as well. And as you ask for feedback more often, you'll learn to determine which is good and which isn't so great. After you've done that, trying to figure out what you're actually ready, willing, and able to work on right now. There are so many options of things that you could be doing. And this is something our students face all of the time. I have so many things that I could be doing. I don't even know what to do. And they often seem to choose the things that are the hardest for them to do, or the most, I don't know what the right word is, but the anti-version of them. This isn't something that's in their wheelhouse that they're excited about, but it's almost kind of like the bad medicine effect. It sucks, therefore it must work. So instead of trying to choose the hardest path, look for the things that you're ready, willing, and able to actually do now and focus on those.
That should have been our episode 100 title. It sucks, therefore it must work. We missed an opportunity there.
There you go.
Please continue, Amber.
Once you've figured out what you're actually ready and willing to work on, you have to make a plan. Just like what we do with our clients, we can't just kind of freeball it. Like, we can't just play around with it and see what happens. You have to make a plan and then know what metrics that you're measuring by. So, I mean, we're doing this in the company, right now, as we're figuring out what kind of KPIs are we working with, so we actually know what we're doing and whether it's working. So you have to do that for yourself, and whether this is for your business or personal life or a hobby that you're trying to learn, whatever it is, you have to define what success actually looks like. And then once you've done that, try it, and then be prepared to fail again, because chances are you will. Or parts of it will fail, and then you'll have to do the whole thing over again to see, what areas can be improved on. And you just kind of repeat this ad nauseum until something works.
So you're saying when you fail, try again, and then take in data, and then try again more intelligently. This is a radical concept. I'm not sure I'm prepared for this type of radical information today. So, John, you at one point were a failure. I mean, I'm in the context of what we're talking about here. championlifestyle.blogspot.com didn't really take off the way that you wanted it to. At one point, from what I understand, you were walking aimlessly about the streets of New York, a couple of bucks in your pocket, wandering in with the rest of the indigents into a Starbucks to ask for a warm place to sit, maybe a smile from a stranger. But you survived that. The phone started buzzing. Keto herself got into a situation where she had to reply by hand to 800 emails, making her ask the question, who am I? Why am I here? The existential crisis of leaping before you look. But she also learned something from that. Can you guys speak to why you kept going? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, what's in you that makes you keep going when you... Do you view it as collecting data? Do you view it as failure? I better stop. This sucks. I'm awful. Ladies first here, Keto. Like, what allowed you to keep going when you tried something and it just sort of didn't work the way you thought it would?
Well, my process tends to be a little bit like, oh my God, I suck. This sucks. Everything sucks. I'm terrible at this. Followed immediately by wait a moment. No, I don't. No, I don't suck. No, I don't freaking suck. And I'm going to show you, like, who, I don't know, like, I'm going to show you all that I don't freaking suck. And then that's my, I do it again.
Right. The hypothetical them out there, you get angered by them, prove to them that you, this, once again, I feel like I say this every episode, but this is so on brand for you, Carol. It's so authentic for you. I throw a complete tantrum, and then I get pissed off at people who aren't here, and then I succeed. That's very much on brand for you. Jonathan, what are your thoughts on this subject? Like, what keeps you going past this data collection period? Oh my gosh.
Ask me what the question is again.
Okay, so you've had situations where you tried something that didn't work. Obviously, you tried it again. It's brought us to this point that we're on this now. What do you think moving the worth we all know on the podcast is what it is? What drives you past that point, though? Why don't you ever stop there? Or have you stopped there? So, well, we know your hockey, like you failed there and you stopped. But in terms of business, what kept you going?
I mean, what else am I going to do?
That's a fair answer, though. He doesn't even know how to stop.
He's looking for more words. That's it.
No, what else am I going to do? Seriously, what else am I going to do with my time? I mean, this is what I know. There's no option to stop. There's no option to fail. I mean, I'll figure out something else to try.
Right.
I mean, I got a lot of hours between when I wake up and when I go to sleep. A workout's like 45 minutes an hour, right?
Right.
What else am I going to do? May as well read some books and try to figure out something else to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, if I may translate for the coherent humans
that
are
motivational?
listening. Right. That was amazing, John. I smell a 12th book coming based off that alone. So I think I'm interpreting what John is. He's made a decision up front that he's going to get where he's going, you know. And when you've decided in that way, you don't look for obstacles. You look for ways around them, right? The obstacles are going to present themselves. Like, nobody needs to come up with an obstacle. They're out there. They're going to show themselves to you. The obstacles are like, you know, old men in subways. They're going to expose themselves to you no matter what. However,
oh my God, I just got onto that. I'm like, where are you going with it all?
Yeah. You can't.
I spend far too much time.
Sandwich shop, because my brain went so quick.
Well, why choose? Actually, I think we all know Jared's history. In any case, you know, like you can't. Subway is not, nor will they ever be a sponsor of the Online Trader Show. You know, just putting that out there. But the obstacles are going to present themselves. Like, you know that, man. You don't have to create the obstacle. You have to always be in the thought process of how am I going to get around the next one, right? If your destination is set. You know, Amber, you wrote the piece that we heard about just now. Like, what's your thing here? Like, when the obstacle comes, I mean, she did. When the obstacle comes, like, what allows you to take the next step when that difficulty presents itself? Because there's got to be something, right? Like, you know, some people hit an obstacle and everything collapses. They say, that's it, I'm done, I quit. Some people hit it and they're like, oh, it's the thing on the way to the next thing. Like, what's the differentiation there? Like, what's different in our thought process that allows us to keep going?
For me, it's a lot of how I identify. And so one of the things I've kind of created as a coping mechanism is an internal avatar. And when I stray from that avatar, what would she do? And one of the things that I identify as is I joke about it. Give me a computer and enough time, and I can figure out anything. And so I have told myself that so much at this point that now when something fails, it becomes a challenge. And so I get motivated to deal with it because it would be counter to who I am and that I've built myself up to be, because she can figure out anything given enough time in a computer. And so I had to go from a very kind of shy, terrified person, and I've recreated my internal avatar. And so whenever I encounter anything in life, I refer to her and try to follow from there.
Do you use the name Amber in third person? Because that'd be really cool. Like, do you ever like, Amber don't take no mess. Oh, Amber gonna work this out. Like, do you ever do anything like that? If so, could you do that could you do that for us here now?
No,
Amber
definitely not. No, it's kind of so the book. What is it called? Ego.
What's Your Ego by Todd Herman.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I love
he's
that
a buddy
book.
of mine. I've got multiple versions of it. If anybody wants it, I'll just give you them.
Yeah.
Me.
So that would be hard.
Can I get one too? I like to have one of those as well.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
fantastic book. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of where it stemmed from, is from reading that, and that was helpful because it changes the dynamic. It's not I'm a failure. Something did not work, but who I am can actually fix it. So it's not me, it's an external problem, and I can control that. So
well, listen, if it works for Beyonce and she turns into Sasha Fierce whenever she has to perform, this is a tried and true strategy.
Absolutely.
Queen Bee can go can do all that she does.
I love Sasha.
Amber the Hammer is not quite Sasha Fierce, but what do we?
But she's still the hammer, though. That's all right. I like that. That's interesting. So
that's fine.
I have.
Yeah, go ahead, kiddo.
Yes, I wanted to add. Oh shoot! I don't. They moved it. So this is what I have. A laughing emoji. So, So I think also we should mention how failure is so deeply connected to a feeling of rejection as well. Like a lot of the times, like there's failing, but when it comes like in service industries, like it's so easy to feel rejected by clients. For example, if you put something out, it's like, and nobody, it's like, I'm looking for 5 clients who want to da 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 da, and then crickets and nobody responds. You feel rejected essentially, and you feel as like a failure by consequence of that rejection. And so I've been kind of like thinking about this topic a lot lately, because I find it fascinating, like how we go about rejection and how we treat ourselves depending on how rejected we feel. And so I found this amazing TED talk that I actually shared on the OTA Level 2 group, because I thought it was just such a fantastic resource for coaches who are trying to aim higher, earn higher, and sometimes feel rejected by clients saying no to their quotes or their services. And it's called What I Learned from 100 Days of Rejection. And it's basically this guy, he's from China. He's super funny. His delivery is amazing. And he's saying how he had all these grand plans and all this stuff that he wanted to do, but he was paralyzed by the fear of rejection. So even though he had a lot of things that he wanted to achieve, he was stopping himself because he was so afraid of being told no. So what he essentially did is that he forced himself into almost like a shock therapy of like facing rejection for 100 days. And he turned it into a whole YouTube channel. And his rejections are amazing because he starts asking like for the stupidest, like he just walks up to a stranger. He's like, hey, can I borrow $100? And they're like, no. And he's like, okay. And he walks away and he's like, oh, wait, I didn't die. Like nothing happened, right? Like,
right.
So anyway, he's out seeking rejection, and all that he shares is what he learned as a consequence. Walking up to a restaurant, a fast food, he finishes his burger and then he goes back and he's like, can I have a burger refill? And they're like, oh, what? And he's like, like with soda, but with the burger, and they're like, no. And
I love that.
It's fantastic. It's brilliant because he gamified.
That's amazing.
He gamified rejection, and he got so good at it. And part of what he learned is that even in rejection and in that feeling of failure, if you stay in the yucky feelings without running away, because somebody says no, and our instinct is to, oh my God, I hide away, I just remove myself from the situation because that was embarrassing, right? The moment that he would stay and actually engage in conversations back and forth, people would sometimes change their minds. And whatever he was asking, he was able to turn it into a yes, just by virtue of staying in the moment. And so I think that's a really big lesson here with failure as well, right? It's like, don't let that feeling of rejection and that fear of failure make you run away from those uncomfortable feelings. Stay in that and stay present and question yourself, where is this coming from and how can I gamify it and turn it around for my benefit?
I love that.
All that I got from that was how much I want to ask for a
burger refill. Absolutely. That was a standout comment in everything. Honestly, it's just the best term ever. Burger refill. Like that should be a thing. But Keto, I think you articulated why I have a tendency to do an enrollment week right behind an enrollment week that fails. Like I don't want to shy away from it personally. I want to go right back to it. I sort of refuse to allow it to. I refuse to allow it to change my self-belief, right? And I'm not frightened of it, so I'll just enroll again. Somebody posted about that in our groups. They tagged me in that post. That's a great point that we sort of internalize what we perceive to be failure as a statement about who we are, when it's just a statement about our technique or a methodology. It's not personal. That's a great point for the podcast. Sort of depersonalize your perceived failure. It's not really about you. It's about some data point that you've not yet rectified in a lot of cases. What a thrilling topic today. It started off rough.
I added a lot of value to it.
I feel like you have the right to feel like that, Jonathan. That's how I feel.
Your feelings are valid.
Yeah, we're going to respect your autonomy. You have the right to feel however you want to, buddy. Good job. You had a Lego and everything. That's awesome. Amber, I love the fact that, first of all, I love the fact that you're back because we were way off the rails. And I'm not just talking about this show. I mean, PTDC was trending down, when you're gone. Like, it was, we were a stone's throw away from total catastrophe, just dumpster fire. So we love that you're back. But I love that you presented this piece, in format of a Facebook post. I saw a lot of people responding to it. I don't know that I responded to it necessarily, but I saw it. I'm one of those people now. Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't have time to comment. I'm one of those people. But thanks so much for presenting it, because it's a discussion that needs to be had, right? And I think that the students and grads need to hear this type of discussion from the mentors a lot. Or at least the graduates that have gone on to what is perceived as being successful. There's just no way around it. Like, nobody skips this part of their business, right? You just don't get around it. You're going to have something that doesn't work. Thank goodness. It weeds all the lazy people out, right? Don't be the people caught in the first obstacle, right? Go past it. See what the second, third, fourth, and fifth one are like. It's a lot less crowded. There's a lot more success as you get over those fourth, fifth, sixth, 300th obstacles. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the success happens. Jonathan, did you have anything that you wanted to add? You've been so eloquent throughout this entire episode.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, Jonathan's fed up.
I get to say, jingle me timbers.
Oh,
no, that's my thing. That's my thing.
It's my thing now.
Okay, I do want to add something. Wait, I do want to add something. Actually.
Add something, Jonathan.
I do want to add something before we finish this episode.
Is he searching on the internet again?
No, well, I have been for most of the episode.
Okay.
But I'm not right now. No, I joke that, like, what else would I do? But there's a lot of truth to that.
Right.
If you really get taken down by failure and it's not an unnatural thing to do, you may be. I would challenge you to be less obsessed with the result of your actions and more addicted to the process and to the day-to-day activities, and learn to enjoy those more and take credit for those, and also, like, understand where the wins are coming in those and take pleasure in those, because if you don't, it's going to be a pretty miserable experience. We've already well established that you're going to be moving backwards, or feel like you're moving backwards 95% of the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the reality of everything that exists in life. And so, I mean, even in a relationship, like, are you always going to be 100% in a relationship? Relationships aren't even 50-50. They're 90-10. Sometimes I'm revving at 90%. Sometimes Allison's revving at 90%. Sometimes we're both revving at 90%. Then it's real good. But oftentimes, one of us picks up the other one. If we thought that it was 50-50, it'd be miserable. Yeah. But we take pleasure in taking care of, well, that doesn't sound right. But the idea,
don't sound wrong either.
Don't sound wrong either. We're married. It's okay. It's legal. That's how we have a baby. You know, we have a baby. But
right. When you're both at 90, you get a Calvin. That's what happens.
That's exactly what happens. But even just taking care of one another in other ways, like helping to pick up a little bit more, clean up a little bit more, cook more often, or whatever. Like, that's just how it is. You have to take pleasure in those occurrences, and the results will often take care of themselves, but in ways that you can't particularly measure. Like, which is why I say, I mean, can you be obsessed with a goal? Like, it's really, really hard. As somebody who sells information, I kind of have to sell a goal and sell a transformation in the end of the transformation. But the reality of it is, life doesn't work that way. So, I don't know. I thought that I'd say that I wasn't going to talk about anymore, but I figured that I should, just so now I can end the episode by saying, "Jingle me timbers."
You don't get to say it because I still got to do show notes. Show notes can be found at onlinetrainer.com/podcast. Yeah, I got it. It's been a while. It's literally been 1.5 days since I had to say that. It's an eternity for me. so and there was no online trainer. Jonathan, throw us out an online trainer ad. You're the or should we defer to Keto? She's Keto. Throw us out an online trainer ad. Give us your best cultural interpretation of an online trainer ad. There you go. Clear it up.
Señora, señorita, que no le digan, que no le cuenten, llévelo hoy. Es el OTA, el Online Trainer Academy, el único lugar en donde podemos nosotros garantizar sus resultados. Llévelo hoy.
Oh man, that's always worth it. That'll never not be entertaining for me. Wait till I find out what you're actually saying. Now, Jonathan Goodman, you can go ahead with your catchphrase to end the show.
Jingle me timbers.
I feel dirty for some reason.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.